All right, this episode's titled The Paths That Choose Us. What paths are we talking about? And is Foundation headed on the right path? Let's talk about Foundation Season 3, Episode 9. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk about Foundation Season 3, Episode 9, The Paths That Choose Us, which comes to Apple TV Plus on September 5th, 2025. Ninth episode in Foundation Season 3. It has been really good so far, except for a little bit of a dip last episode. Is this a return to form? Does this get Foundation on the right path? Did it choose the right one? Well, my hot take is I definitely think you should watch it. I thought it was a good episode. Not as good as the previous ones, but it has some big surprises, a lot of impact, and some very good effects, weighed by some okay writing. I didn't love the writing in one of the scenes, some character turns, and some hit or miss effects. So overall, I liked it. I think we're in a return to form, but we'll see how this season concludes. This is the setup for the last episode. The last episode is next week, so I think we're on the right path, but we'll see what path they ultimately choose. So all that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the episode, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this episode, I would turn it off when I get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free. Let you know when I get to the spoilers. So Foundation Season 3, Episode 9 continues right after the events of Episode 8, where Day was judged by the robot cult and sent to the digester, whatever you want to call it. He will, I forget what they call it, refactored, something like that. He's going to be digested into protein-rich substance to go back into the earth, something like that. Meanwhile, Empire is dealing with the fact that there is only one of the three empires, and there's not enough time to make some new ones. So Dusk is going all in, and Gaal is trying to take out the Mule. So, things I liked about this episode. The first, I like the surprises. There's some big surprises. There's some pretty surprising scenes. Very surprising scenes. Some that I was very shocked about. That's why the episode, splash image, whatever it is, there was some pretty shocking scenes. So I like those surprises. I like that they kept it moving. I like that they kept it different. Really loving the season. So that was a plus. The second thing I'll call it the scene. I'll go into it in the recap. But there was a scene here that I was like, wow, that is a big impactful scene. It was pretty well done. There were some things I didn't love about it. I'll go about that in the recap as well. So, but overall, I thought it was a pretty impactful, impressive scene. Surprised it was kind of, not at the very end. That feels like a very end scene, but here we go. The last thing I loved the effects in some of them. In the Day scene where he is, in the digester, really good effects, really cool, really interesting look. And there's another scene where they're in like a futuristic looking building. Nice, really nice effects. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first, and this is one I noticed the most, some of the writing in specifically that scene, I didn't love. It felt a little casual, felt a little different from character. I'll go into that in the recap, but hit or miss writing here, and which is weird because Foundation, I usually like the writing. So very strange character turn there, which is right into the second thing I didn't love as much. Character turns. There's some big character turns. We've been having them, and I still don't love it. So I'll talk about that in the recap too. There's a lot of things I'm going to talk about in the recap that I'm not going to talk about here, but just some weird character turns. And the last thing I didn't love as much, hit or miss effects. I'll go to that later, but there were some scenes where I was like, that doesn't look as good. Doesn't look as good as I expect. I expect Foundation to look pretty seamless, especially this season. This season has overall looked really good. So there were some scenes where I was like, oh, that's a little too CG. So all that being said, Foundation Season 3, Episode 9 comes to Apple TV Plus on September 15th, 2025. Like I said, I think you should watch it. It's been a good season so far. I really like this season. Um, just and this one was a positive, just not as good as the last ones have been. So I'm really hopeful for the finale. I don't think we're going to get full resolution, but I think we will be left in an interesting spot as we wait for what I assume will be Foundation Season 4. So if you do watch it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens this episode, turn it off now because there'll be spoilers. So in no particular order, we'll start with Day. I usually go with the various planets, people, whatever. We'll start with Day in the Mycogen sector. So he is getting digested. It very much feels like that Star Wars trash compactor scene, kind of a mix between like the trash compactor scene and the swamp scene. He's in this like organic looking area. He can't touch things because they're sticky or they're dissolving him. So it seems like this is a bad place for him. And then something seems to be sucking him down. You're like, oh, there's some creature in here that's going to devour him. And eventually he gets sucked down and gets spit out from some sort of like drainage vent. And it is Song. Song came down. She saved him. She decided that she believed him. She believed what he said. Very sweet. I mean, Day is a likable character, at least at this point. So I guess Song believed him, and so did her mate. I forget what the mate's name is, Raven something or other, but they both believe him. They save Day, and she wants him to like run, but he doesn't want to run. She tells him to run, and he says, "No, I need to go back up there. I need that skull on the top of the Twink Master's staff that apparently can sing lullabies to other robots using Wi-Fi. I don't know, Wi-Fi like 2000 probably with that range. That's a pretty good range. But he wants to get this skull, this one skull. He says he can go free Demerzel with it. I don't know how. I don't know how that's going to work, but maybe this skull has a firmware update for Demerzel. Maybe he can like reflash her firmware with the skull because they're apparently all one consciousness. So maybe Demerzel was cut off and her stuff was reprogrammed, and now he'll be able to reopen it. I don't know why he would be able to reopen it here. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's why. It's been too far away. It's not within range. Demerzel's been searching. No other robots. This is the one robot. Maybe he'll bring it close. They'll connect. They'll do like an airdrop because it's an Apple show, so they have to do an airdrop, and then it'll reflash Demerzel's firmware to the universal robot firmware, and everything will be good. I don't know. We'll see. But Day seems to believe that this skull will free Demerzel. So he goes up there, takes on the Twink Master, Sun Master, I think is his name. They fight. Day is clearly like, I mean, he's in better shape. He beats up Sun Master. Sun Master like hits him once, and then Day smacks him. Sun Master bites him. Eventually, Day takes the staff, stabs Sun Master in the stomach, and then throws him over the railing and gets the skull. So Sun Master, I didn't like his character anyways, and he's gone. Hopefully forgotten soon, but he's gone. So that is what happened today. Now, over in New Terminus, we've got Gaal. She is on New Terminus. She's going to try to take on the Mule, and it seems like the wardens on New Terminus are tracking her. So she tricks them. She gets one of them captured, and then she tries to mentally interrogate her. And they go in there, and she's trying to like get information, and then all of a sudden, that warden gets pulled under in this mental water spot that they're in, and starts drowning. And we see the Mule is pulling her under. So as Gale's trying to get information, the Mule is like saying no, and that warden eventually like kills herself. Essentially, like blood starts coming out of her eyes and mouth because she's like dying because she doesn't want to be interrogated by Gaal. So pretty grisly scene, but pretty cool scene too. Now, after this, Pritchard shows up. I guess Pritchard was just waiting in the wings for some reason. Pritchard shows up and he takes them all to see Torin. And when they get there, we finally find out who these other people that went with Gaal. It was really weird. She's like, I'm going to assemble a team. Here's these people we've never met before, and we don't find out their names. And they're going to go on to the planet. Now we finally find out their names, and that's about all we find out from them. One of them is named One of them is named Leda. One of them is named Zara. Don't know anything else about them. I don't know if one of them is like a hacker, if one of them is like a crack shot. They're just there. So she tells the entire group that they're going to go kill the Mule, and she checks each of them to see if they are clear. She finds out that Pritchard's clear because he loves her. I guess she can look in there and see what they love the most, and that warden loved the Mule, and that's why the Mule killed her. Pritchard loves her, and he goes and finds everyone's love. And I guess maybe love is the answer. It's a very Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone type answer. The magic was actually love all along. Well, apparently the Mule can make his minions love him, and so that's why they follow him. But they eventually go to check Magnifico, and he is still infected by the Mule. Now she doesn't press him because she doesn't want Magnifico to die, but Magnifico is under the control of the Mule. And I was like, okay, like what are they gonna do? Are they gonna like kill him? No, they don't kill him because we love Magnifico. Are they gonna like isolate him? No, they take him along in all of their plans. I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. Magnifico is under control of the Mule. The Mule is a mentalist, whatever, mentalic. Why would they take him with her? Like he's gonna communicate all her plans to the Mule. Like what? Anyways, they go to see Seldon, taking Magnifico along for some reason, and eventually Gaal goes into the vault to see Harry, and it was interesting when she went in, the vault had more of a prime radiant look. I guess it had been reskinned. Normally it's like dark gray, but now it was like clear with the gold, skeleton, the gold lines in there. So I guess maybe they got some DLC this episode, and now the prime radiant has like a new skin for the fall. But They go into the vault, they talk in the vault, and they talk about how Harry a while ago was able to save the people from New Terminus. And he did this because the Prime Radiant exists, or because the vault exists in 4D space. So he can like full, it's almost like I don't know, like a quantum type theory where you're like it can exist in all these different spaces, and if you like measure it one way, it can exist here. So he basically like was able to save the people of Terminus because he basically just like made the vault appear in that part of the world. That three instantiation of the vault was there. People got in there, went back into 4D, exists everywhere space, and then he could like make it instantiate over in new Terminus. And that's how he was able to save the people of old Terminus, I guess. So there we go. They talk about Calais and her principles of folding. That seems to be an important factor in this episode. And eventually, Gaal asks why he gave Demerzel the Radiant, and he says he gave her that because it was a paradox bomb. The Radiant was like an expression of a fault in their programming. Basically, Demerzel is like in a mad scramble to protect her dynasty, and in doing that, she will use the Radiant to figure out what she needs to protect her dynasty. And by using the Radiant to figure out what she needs to protect her dynasty, I guess maybe it like will push her towards doing things in the Radiant because the Radiant is additional inputs now. So now Demerzel is kind of like following the path to protect the dynasty, I guess. And also the fact that she has it shows that Harry gave it to her, I guess. And so by her having it, she'll get the Mule's attention, and the Mule will know that Harry gave it to her and that Harry is not under the Mule's control, I guess. Great. Now, Gaal then says that she needs Harry's help and she needs to get to the mule's like ship up above, and they can't do that because I don't know why. Who knows? So I guess she's not sneaky enough. She doesn't have the mental powers to. But Harry maybe can like time space shift the vault up into the mule's space, and he can get them onto there. And he says it'll help, but he has one condition. And Gale's like, of course. Harry wants a body. Harry doesn't like being, I guess, 3D in the metaverse over here. He wants a real body. So Harry tells Gaal that he wants a real body. And Gale's like, I don't know how he did it because a previous Harry did get a real body. That was a real boy. This one is apparently just a simulation. So she's like, well, you can go ask him because remember, Gaal can like now see all through time because she had that one instance where she was time jumping and she opened her eyes and that gave her the ability to now see through time, I guess. So he says, go ask him. So Gaal is probably gonna like time shift back and ask other Harry how he got a body, and then tell that to this Harry, and maybe this Harry will get a body. Everybody gets a body. So Harry then also tells Gaal that something about the mule isn't right. His story doesn't add up, and that's all we get from there. So over to the Empire. Here we have, remember, the council was trying to placate the mule by giving them Trantor, and the council's there. It's like the council leader and the religious fanatic people and the cloud. It's not the cloud atlas. The cloud dominion people. They all gathered and said, "Hey, we're going to give the mule Trantor." And so they're about to call the mule to tell him the news, and then Dusk kind of takes over the call, and he talks to the mule. And Dusk has a really weird way of speaking here. It feels almost like a kid wrote it, like I don't know, maybe I'm too old. It feels like a Gen Z kind of like I don't know. It's not Gen Z, but it feels very casual for what Dusk normally is. Dusk is normally proper, and now he says things like when he talks to the mule, and the mule's like, "Oh yeah, I'll take transfers." Like, "Oh, I just checked that offer expired." I was like, "That's kind of lame writing." And eventually, he also says, like, in my last hours, I will not bow to a usurper named after a farm animal, which again is kind of lame writing. At some point, he says, take this as a warning. Don't F with Empire. I almost expected him to like mic drop and like dab out of there. It just felt very weird, very uncharacteristic of Dusk. But anyways, what happens here is Dusk says, "Hey, look, I'm in the Navecula, this like super gun, and this is a warning to you, Mule." And then he goes to blow up the three entities that are there being represented. He blows up the Galactic Council first. He takes out the Cloud Dominion second, and then he takes out Zephyr's planet, the Maiden. Each of them 1-1-1. He doesn't take out the Mule in New Terminus, and the Mule thinks that's probably because he can't reach there. He has a powerful weapon that maybe doesn't have the range to get to New Terminus, but he takes out each of those scenes, and I was like, dang, like this is a good scene, except for the weird writing. Some of the effects aren't great, but overall, it was a pretty impactful scene. The music was fantastic here, and you see just like how ruthless Dusk is being here to hold on to that power. It basically looked like he was going to lose it because the council were going to like rally against him, and now he's like, nope, I have this stick, I'm going to use it. So after this scene, Dusk goes to the chamber of Cleons. He's walking through checking the names of the various Cleons, and he goes to his Cleon, which he is known as the Conciliator, which was good. Like Dusk was a, negotiator. He was one that was like trying to keep the peace. And now he wants to be the consequential. Feels very much like a I want my legacy to be powerful, so I'm going to be the consequential. Meanwhile, after this, Demerzel goes to the library, that library that we saw earlier, and she asks to see the ninth proof of folding. And when she gets in there, she opens the ninth proof of folding, and they say like, no, you can't do that. It's only for Empire because remember, Dawn went there earlier to see it. Now Demerzel goes there, and she's like, I am Empire, and she's saying that a lot more. I don't know if like that's part of her programming or she's feeling the need to justify it to keep the dynasty. But she says, I am Empire. And they let her look at it. She goes to look at the she goes to look at the folding proof. And then she pulls out the prime radiant and then like goes, like her vision goes into the prime radiant. And it gets this like weird, crappy kaleidoscope look as she like goes into the prime radiant. And when she gets in there, she walks around. She's like, I know you're here, Callie. And Callie, the mathematician that did the ninth proof of folding that helped build the prime radiant, pops up. Meanwhile, Ambassador Quent goes to talk to Dusk, and he says that he is eating his last meal. This is his last night alive, and he's going to eat the ferret. Day's ferret is his last meal, which is weird. Also, seems out of character for him, but he's felt out of character ever since. But he is eating Day's ferret for the last meal. Dusk and Quent fight, and Dusk feels very like petulant here. Like he's saying, like, I needed to do this to preserve Empire. And Quent essentially says that she needed a way forward. Foundation has fallen, and now with what he's done, the Empire is like garbage. So she needed something to believe in, and Dusk basically kind of ruined that for him. And Dusk is like, well, like at least I was here to confront the mule. Seldon ran away. He was not consequential. And it feels very much like a trying to make fetch happen. Like I'm going to be Cleon the consequential. So I'm going to say he Seldon was not consequential. I am. And Quent sees through this and she's like, I see you as a small petty man pissing with fear about to die. Not good for Dusk, but it is true. Now, over in the Prime Radiant, Gale's in the Prime or Demerzel's in the Prime Radiant. We see Demerzel talking to Callie, and Callie's like, yo, like sees like, I know you. And we find out that Callie, the mathematician, was a robot. They talk about how Gaal showed Demerzel a vision of the future, and she recognized this place that was where I guess the mule was fighting in the future. It's a library where the robots all hid out during the Robot War. 5,000 years ago, there was this library that they all hid out. It was their last stand, I guess. They all kind of like tried to fold themselves into the books. And when they were discovered, they were dragged out and killed. But that library has been forgotten in the time. It's been built up, built on top of, kind of like underground Seattle. So now no one knows about it except for Demerzel. But now she has kind of a paradox because Gaal showed her this. She showed her the future where they were in the library. She knows that she must have offered that library spot to Seldon's followers to hide because she's the only one that knows about it. So now she knows that she did that because she's seen it. And so like she gets this paradox because like she knows that she must have helped them because she's seen that she helped them. And she doesn't know if she is like helping them or if she's putting this plan into motion to eventually have them get killed in the library. And she's not sure who she's serving. Is she serving the overall plan by keeping Foundation alive and helping them take out the mule, or is she serving the mule and this future by giving up Seldon's followers? And Callie's like, well, you know, you don't have to choose yet. I mean, you can choose later. You can offer this to Seldon's followers, and then you can choose later to betray them essentially and tell the mule. And she's called it like a delayed a delayed betrayal, I think, or something like that. So she can decide. And there we go. And that is kind of where it ends. We don't know what Demerzel is going to do. I think she's probably going to offer it, but we'll see. And we also then end this scene with Empire eating the ferret as his last meal. It looks very delicious. It looks very well prepared. It seems like he's probably not enjoying it. I think he wanted a nicer meal with Quint. But you know what? You commit genocide, you're not going to have many friends. So then we get to like an ending scene and we see that, Dusk is eating the ferret by himself. Day is going back to, his base with the skull. Dawn is in the mule's holding cell, still injured. The mule is looking out at New Terminus, and they all are alone. And Gaal is looking up at the mule and walks into the vault with Pritchard. And the vault, still looks Prime Radiant-esque. And the interesting thing is all of these powers, all these significant powers in this game were all alone except for Gaal. Gaal and Pritchard were walking together, and she has her squad that we just learned the name of. So I don't know. Is love the answer? Maybe love will conquer all. It feels very Hollywood-esque, but I don't know. Maybe that's where they're going to go. Maybe love was the answer all along. But that is the episode. We will see what happens in episode 10 now. Questions slash predictions. Like, will the Navicular be used again? I don't think so. I mean, the mule is not going to be in a close enough space. So I don't know why the mule would, I don't know why that would happen. Um, it also is super powerful, and I don't really know how many more planets they can take out. I mean, Empire's losing planets, so I don't really know what that's going to do. Will Gaal and them be able to enter the mule ship? I'm pretty sure they will, but then the question is going to be, can they overcome the mule? I mean, Gale's a powerful metallic, Pritchard's a powerful metallic. You'd think together they could take him out, but I don't know. The mule's very, very powerful too, and he's got a lot of people that are around him, and he can take over various other people. So we will see. Will Dusk actually go through it? Will he suicide himself? I don't know. He doesn't seem to want to, but we'll have to find out. And what will the mule do? Will he just stay in New Terminus out of the range? I don't know. He has whisper ships. That was a whole thing. They're like, oh, they've got whisper ships. They can now attack Trantor. Like, I don't know. It feels like he can just take his whisper ships, fly over to Trantor, to the Navicular, get on the Navicular, use his mental powers to take it over and be like, boom, now I've got this super weapon in the middle of Empire. What you gonna do now? Didn't seem that well thought. And to that extent, why doesn't Gaal use whisper ships to get up to, the mule's spot? The whisper ships are supposed to be super secret and like not able to be detected. Use them. That was the whole concern with the mule taking Foundation, was now he has whisper ships, and we have not seen them since. So we will see. I think what will happen is Gaal will get up there. They'll fight the mule. Maybe the season will end with Gaal and the mule fighting. Meanwhile, Demerzel, I think Dusk is probably not going to suicide himself. Somehow he'll figure out how. Demerzel maybe will be forced to kill him, and then there will be no Empire left. And what are they going to do? Day will probably get there with the skull towards the end, and that'll be another cliffhanger. And we'll probably also find out that Dawn's alive. Maybe the mule will show them that I've got Dawn and like use it as a bargaining chip. I don't know. That's just kind of speculation. But that is Foundation episode 9. Like I said, good season so far. I liked it. But some things about this episode were kind of lame, as you could tell. But overall, it's been a good season. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see how this season ends. And if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.